안녕하세요. 매일매일 운동하기를 실천하고 있는 동탄 왕코입니다. 토요일 아침이에요. 주말도 비가 엄청 많이 온다고 하는데 출근할 때랑 퇴근할 때 딱 이 두 번만 비가 안 왔으면 좋겠습니다. 날씨가 엄청 흐려요. 당장 비가 내려도 이상하지 않을 날씨군요. 일단 운동하겠습니다. 우리의 쿠오모 아저씨께서 열변을 토하고 계시네요. 뭐라고 하는지 함께 다 같이 들어보시죠.
Now, I don't know if you heard about the controversy, but the kid who took this picture got suspended for it. Not supposed to use your phone. Oh, really? And what about the reality they captured? On prime time, you get rewarded for exposing the truth. It was good trouble that this person got in. And you will hear her story. Why? Because I don't want any of our kids to have to be put in a position like this. And we have a president who is encouraging it with lies and inaction. This would be okay if we could test all those kids every damn day and get the results fast. He can make that happen, and he isn't. Now, at the opposite end of accountability and responsibility, you have my brother in New York. He has made a lot of difficult choices. He hasn't been perfect. Nobody is. We've had problems here. We've had failures. But he was able to say today that all school districts are cleared to reopen. But, not to, throw water on my brother's own parade, but be very clear, he didn't open the schools. This is going to be very case by case. I don't know if I have comfort having my kid go back to school. He said they are all eligible to be open. There's no blanket restriction, but it's going to be community by community. There are requirements that they'll have to meet. Districts are going to have to submit their plans. Masks are going to have to be worn at all times if you can't socially distance. This was the state, remember, New York got its ass kicked by COVID. We were where you didn't want to be. And now, even though it had everything going against it, travel hub, tons of density, more people in need than it had requirements to meet them, didn't have a lot of money in the budget for this. Now every region is well below its infection limit. And if infection rates spike before scheduled reopenings, the governor says he's going to have to revisit things. He better, right? I mean, the whole point is for us to be healthy. And look, I think his decision today comes with risks, no question about it. So let's talk about the realities here, okay? And I believe in staying with sources that I know I can trust so that what they tell you is worth acting on, all right? And that's why I have infectious disease specialist with Vanderbilt University, Dr. William Schaffner, on the show as often as I do. I know his credentials. I've tracked him over time on this. Nobody knows everything, but he asks the right questions and he's worried about the right things. So, Doctor, thank you for being a gift to the audience and to me, frankly, when I was sick during this time.
Good to be with you, Chris. And listen, here's a reality. It may be 3 hours early, but congratulations on entering the second half century of your life's adventure. Happy birthday, pal.
Look, they'll have to be better scientists than you to keep me alive for another 5 years, let alone 50. But thank you very much, Doc. Let's just clear up a little things. You know health policy very well. This is an easy fact check. Pre-existing condition protection exists right now in the law. This administration is fighting it in court. He's not giving us anything with an executive order right now the way he says he is. Isn't that the truth?
It's apparently the truth. I'm kind of baffled. Maybe existing conditions need the protection of an executive order against members of his own party.
확실히 특권이라면은 여기가
I'll take all the help I can get to keep those in. When I was an intern, I thought by now we would have universal health care for everyone. Have gray hair, we're not there yet. We certainly don't want to move backwards.
Now, in terms of opening schools, you see that picture down there in Georgia. I don't blame the kids. If you tell them to go back, they're going to do what they normally do. What is the obvious set of factors that pops out to you in this scenario of this type of proximity and population?
Well, we're all concerned, right? Some places can be more confident than others, including your own state of New York, because you people have started as a hot spot and turned it into a cold spot. And the countries that have opened schools successfully have been those where they have controlled the community spread. So then they can open the schools, and even they have done it carefully. But across the country, we have varying conditions in the communities. For the most part, this virus is out of control. So I understand the anxiety of the parents, and we grandparents, we have a high schooler going back and someone going to college. We're worried about all that.
One more question. Is it true that the deciding factor in terms of what we can control when it comes to school has to be rapid testing? That the only way to control a population like that is to have very short interval turnaround on what's going on with that big a population so that you can make adjustments in real time, that you can't wait 7-8 days. If you don't have rapid testing that gets you a test back in a matter of hours, you can't do it.
That would be beautiful. They're doing that for the National Football League. Why can't we do it for the National Scholastic League, right? That's what we would like to do.
All right, Dr. Schaffner, thank you very much. I'm telling you, I'm going to ask you about schools a lot going forward because I see it as a metaphor for everything. Our kids matter the most. You can't go to work if your kid's going to be home. Our economy's not going to get back, and God forbid kids start getting sick. You think we've seen disruption from this disease, this virus already. We haven't seen anything yet if it starts affecting our kids. Doctor, be well, and thank you. All right, now look, I'm telling you, we all have a role in this. And I am not going to let the president say things that are dangerous and untrue, especially about our kids, because we cannot have the level of confidence he wants us to have. And I want it, by the way. We all want it. I want to believe that my Mario, who had it already with the antibodies, he's going to be good. But I don't know that. My 2 girls, they haven't had it. I don't know what's going to happen to them. What if they catch a bad case? It happens. COVID just claimed its youngest victim in Georgia. The kid was 7. We have the mayor of Georgia's biggest city here, Atlanta. She had COVID. Her family had COVID. She's fighting the fight politically about it. What does she envision for schools moving forward there? Is safety the top priority? What does that look like? And how's she doing, by the way? Looks great, but let's talk to the mayor. Next.
Inside Africa, unlocking the mysteries behind the continent you thought you knew. Fierce, fun-loving and female, Nigeria's superstar DJs don't let up despite the lockdown.
Started off as a young Nigerian girl with dreams, now I'm a woman with a global vision.
Inside Africa, only on CNN, in association with Zenith Bank.
We've got a lot of work to do, and what I've called for. Mr. President, the government still not as divided as our politics suggest.
Whoa, whoa. We need to be 6 feet apart when we argue.
This is the closest we've been in years.
Tech for creation.
I still can't believe that I can paint with my eyes.
Tech for collaboration.
Technology has changed your dreams, your career.
Tech for expression.
I see it as a way to sculpt in space.
This is tech for good.
Join me for stories of incredible people doing awe-inspiring work and the amazing technology that makes it all possible.
Tech for good. Today on CNN, in association with Samsung.
A mask can say a lot about the person who wears it, but even more about the person who doesn't.
This is a challenge the world has never encountered before at this scale. The easiest way to get through it is to have been able to crush the virus. When you can crush it and take it down to super low levels, then it is easier to sustain monitoring the hotspots if you've got the right testing in place. Unfortunately, I think societies need to go through, communities, not just society as a whole, bad stretches to realize how bad it can get before they're ready to maintain some of the vigilance. Even then, it won't be easy. The key message here is there's no guarantees. Handling it well today is no guarantee that you'll be fine tomorrow. And the ability to stay vigilant, and not just vigilant for a couple weeks or a couple months, but potentially a year or more till we have a vaccine at scale, is going to require enormous discipline as well as alignment across the public, private, and social sector.
Listen, nobody wants anything bad to happen anywhere in this country, or you shouldn't. But when you reopen, without being smart, without putting safety first, you will have problems. It is an immutable truth in a pandemic. If you put people together in ways that you can't count, and you can't keep them safe, they're going to be sick. Breaking news from Georgia. Another problem in another school district. This time, it's Cherokee County, just north of Atlanta. It has only been a week. 1 week, 260 kids, 8 teachers have been told to quarantine because kids tested positive. In the return on the test, there was a lag, and this is what happens. COVID positivity rates are going up in major cities all across this country, and yes, you may be saying right now, wait, didn't I hear this about Georgia? You did, but it was a different county. It was Gwinnett County, and that was 200-something teachers and staff. This is now another group of 200 in a different county, and it's students. This is what you risk. The White House Task Force Coordinator, Deborah Birx, warned in a private call with state and local officials this week that 9 cities in particular are on their radar. You can see that includes Atlanta, where the mayor is in a legal face-off with the governor over mask mandates. Can you believe that anyone in charge still has a problem with telling people to wear masks if they can't socially distance? Governor Kemp is against them, even when it comes to schools. That is a smart idea to one person, Trump. Now, he says it should be up to local officials. Why give them the choice on something like this? It can only help. But this is what we all saw. This is what happens. When you leave it to them, when you leave it to people, there's risk. And here's the reality. Kids cramming a hallway. I don't see any masks in a picture. And remember, I know the president told you it's going to disappear. He's lying. I know he told you kids are basically immune. He's lying. Kids get sick, just not as much as we do. But over the age of 10, they can be as contagious as we can. Why did a 7-year-old boy have to die in Georgia just this week? No underlying conditions. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms joins me right now. It is good to see you, but I must say, I'm very sad about the circumstances, Mayor. That picture of that high school is scary. I don't know what the numbers are in that county. I don't know why they felt this level of confidence, but I wouldn't put my kid in there, would you?
Chris, Chris, kids are kids. I was out
I don't blame the
yesterday.
kids. I don't blame the kids. Go ahead, Mayor.
Well, no, what I was going to say is I was out with two of my kids yesterday, and I watched them fidget and take their mask on and off. So there's only so much that we can expect from kids. That's why, as adults, we have to make sound decisions. And it's no surprise that we are where we are in this state. But when you look at those kids in the hallways and you look at the kids not wearing masks at school, think of every bus driver and custodian and cafeteria worker and teacher in that school who's also
15분. 아이고 20분도 안 했어.
and it terrifies me to think of where we will be 2 weeks from now.
And they go home. They go home. Who's at home? Is mom diabetic? Is grandma there? Is there an auntie around? You know, do they have a kid brother or sister that has a vulnerability? When you said this to the governor, what is the state of his rationale when you say, look, it was Gwinnett, now it's Cherokee? What do you think's going to happen here?
Well, in some things, the governor has deferred to local control. When we were back in the spring and decisions needed to be made as to whether or not school systems would close down, he deferred to local control. He's continuing to do that as it relates to whether or not the schools are opening. Atlanta Public Schools have decided to go the first 9 weeks virtual only, which is absolutely the right decision. But as it relates to masks, the governor wants to control who can and can't mandate masks in our city. So we are in mediation with the governor right now. I'm encouraged by that mediation. He acknowledges that wearing masks saves lives, but we now have to just iron out whether or not local jurisdictions will have the ability to mandate them.
The local jurisdiction should be the one suing, not the president on their behalf. He doesn't even have the standing. The local jurisdiction would, but forget about the law. This is about practicality. When you heard about this little boy in
지금 팔굽혀펴기를 못 하겠어요. 여기가 찌릿찌릿해서
I'm not trying to magnify it.
팔굽혀펴기를 못 하니까
You know, the idea
이거를
that kids are
바벨이라고 하나요? 아령?
I know how worried you were about your own
이거를
kids.
10개씩 하겠습니다.
Just because a
와,
doctor
진짜
says
오랜만에
they'll
하는데?
probably be better off, that's not very heartening, especially when you hear about something like this.
That was absolutely heartbreaking. My youngest kids my twins are 9. And I've shared before, all of my kids have asthma. This child didn't have any underlying health conditions. And it's frightening and it's frustrating that we are still here. Our kids left school in March, mid-school year. They left in March. We had the spring, we had the summer, and we're still in the same spot, but on many days we're even worse. Our ICUs are at capacity. We weren't at capacity, quite at capacity, back in the spring because we had shut things down and people weren't out in traffic and having car accidents and having many other issues that send them into the ER. Now we have businesses open as usual. We have schools open on top of a pandemic.
Georgia's positivity rate exceeds 10%, therefore remains in the red zone, a federal designation for states with more than 100 new cases per 100,000 residents. That is supposed to be a signal that you're supposed to be slowing down, not accelerating. Mayor, it is not easy to tell people that they must forbear. It is not easy to say that you're going to have kids at home for school. It screws up everything in the household, as you know. But that is leadership, because if they get sick, they'll never forget who put their kids in harm's way. Madam Mayor, be well, and it's good to see you looking well. I wish the best to your family and your husband.
And happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. I don't look a day over 57. Take care, Mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, now, that picture that we showed you from the high school, we wouldn't have it if one of the students didn't feel she needed to show you this. And they wanted to suspend her. God bless Congressman John Lewis. He talked about good trouble. May not have been the thing that was by the letter of the law, but it was important to make things more just. We have her tonight, and she should be rewarded, because we would never be driving the coverage of how the risk is being made manifest without this young woman. She's going to join us to talk about her school and her experience next.
special inside the Middle East. Visit the largest museum of its kind, dedicated to one civilization. See Tutankhamun as you've never seen him before, up close and personal. The Grand Egyptian Museum and its artifacts spanning millennia.
We thought we should build the largest museum in the world. Cairo will be the city of museums.
Inside the Middle East, this weekend on CNN.
A global pandemic, an overdue reckoning on race, an economic crisis, and an election right in the middle of it all. The 2020 conventions are coming. The Democrats.
This election is about decency, it's about honor, it's about restoring dignity.
The Republicans.
I will proudly defend and protect the workers, families, and citizens of the United States of America.
The 2020 convention starts August 18th, only on CNN.
I'm Melissa Bell in Paris, and this is CNN.
Oh.
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
Look, we all know schools are in a tough position. Every parent wants their kid back in them, ideally, right? But all of us are checked by the same instinct. I got to keep my kids safe. They can't even count the tests. The tests come back. It takes so long. That's why this photo is going viral, is all over the place, because it captures our fear. As far as the eye can see, kids all over each other and not a mask in sight. Now, I'm not mad at the kids. Kids are going to do what you allow them to do. The picture was posted online by a concerned student. After it exploded on social media, the school suspended her. They should be suspending themselves for allowing this. Now, since then, the school backed off. But that doesn't take the onus of what they're allowing. This photo is the fear. Let's talk to the student who took the picture. I want her to be rewarded. I want her to be recognized for this. Hannah Waters, a sophomore at North Paulding High School outside Atlanta. Good for you, young truth warrior. I know that this came with some drama that you were worried about, but tell us, when you saw the scene in your high school, connect the dots for us about what you thought to do about it and why.
I was very concerned for everyone in that building and everyone in our county, because this is obviously nowhere near safe, and especially because there's been multiple people getting tested or multiple people testing positive inside the county from August 3rd when we opened back up.
So you took the picture, put it on social media. What was the response?
I did not expect it to blow up so fast, but it really did. I had posted it after school hours. It was probably around 15 minutes after dismissal at the most, and I want to say 10 minutes, 20 minutes after I posted it, I had already had multiple reporters asking to the rights to the photo and the story behind it.
Make them pay. No, so then what happened with the school? when they decided to come and take action, what was that like? How did that affect you and your parents?
It was Wednesday afternoon, right about at noon, and they had pulled me out of class, and I knew what it was about. I knew that they figured out it was me, and we talked about it. I wrote a statement, and they informed me that I broke 3 policies in the Paulding County Code of Conduct, and they gave me 5 days of out-of-school suspension.
What'd your parents say?
We fought it. As my mom got the call when I was sitting in the principal's office, and the assistant principal referred her back to the principal so she could talk to him about it.
And why did they relent?
They referred her to the principal, and he never called her. She called him twice and never got a response. It wasn't until the next day where he said he would get back to her today. And earlier this morning, at around 9:30, he called her and told them that he was sorry, he apologized, and he deleted the suspension completely.
So good for you. You called it good trouble, obviously in honor of the just recently passed Congressman John Lewis, where sometimes you have to bend some of what they're telling you is right to show what's ultimately really right. And good for you in having the bravery to do that. Let me ask you, how do you feel about going back to school if it's still that way?
Especially after that kid just died, the 7-year-old. It's very upsetting that it's going to take people dying to get people's attention, because people shouldn't have to die for people to be worried about it. People shouldn't have to be risking their lives to go to work, to go to school, even just stay home, because if your kid goes to school and they come back with it, you're going to catch it, because who wears masks around their family? So you shouldn't have to risk your life going to and from work, going to the grocery store, and I just am very hopeful that we can take more precautions going from work and school and everything of the sorts.
How old are you? 15, 16?
I'm 15.
Boy, oh boy, to have a 15 try and make sense in a way that your own governor isn't, is really something. As a kid your age, how do you make sense of the adults around you not doing what seems like such common sense to you? Like not making you wear a mask, like not changing how it is at school during class change periods like that to suit an obvious need. How do you process that as a kid your age?
I mostly know that even though these things aren't enforced, I know that what I'm doing is right, and I'm not only helping myself and the people at home, but I'm helping everyone around me. And that really kind of motivates me to keep on doing it, because I have immunocompromised people at home, and I myself have had asthma since I was a kid. So it really does motivate me to help not only my family, but everyone around me.
Listen, Hannah, you are a brilliant demonstration of something they will never teach you at any level of school. You have character, and you took a risk, and you saw it through because you knew you were doing the right thing. Even if they hadn't removed the suspension, you've given a window into the reality there that may change the reality, if not for those kids there, because you've got some stubborn people on the local level. That principal's got way bigger problems than your suspension. Maybe it'll make others make different decisions for their kids in their schools. So thank you. Be healthy. God bless you and your family. Say hello to them for us, and thank you for letting you do the interview.
Thank you for your time.
All right, Truth Warrior. Take care. Great, huh? 15, knows what's right in a way her own governor doesn't. That's an American right there. Another huge concern. Russia is doing what it does. You want to talk about it is what it is? They're coming at us again, just like all the intel people tell you. We know they're going to do it. How do we know?
30분 남았네.
Intel people tell us. They briefed lawmakers. There is an effort afoot to derail Biden's bid.
이거 5개만 하고 끝내겠습니다.
Now, he says nobody's been tougher. Show it. Prove it. Do something now to beat back the foreign interference. Tom Friedman, brilliant mind, open eyes, clear head on an obvious situation. Next.
아